Hey guys, it's AJ. Another day with AJ. It is Monday, March the 10th, 9:30. So, life is always interesting. So, I had a video shot earlier in the day, and I shared what happened at the mosque in Brooks and the Stooge Association. Check this out. The Muslim Association of Cadre. So that's the Stooges for you, right? So, the guy, at the end of the day, it's not about the truck and, $150 or so worth of, toll. Listen, it's not about that. It's about you are coming and a truck, nobody has complained. It's a public property, so to speak. It's a private property, not public, it's publicly, it's public what? Public for the community. It's a funded community property. Mosque. It's a holy site for worship. So you don't own it. Nobody owns it, okay? The community collectively owns it. And this is the house of Allah, so to speak. 20%, administration nonsense does not mean nothing. So, anyways, with that behind me, so we'll see what the righteous Muslim Association of Calgary, MAC. So I have to say about Muslim brother. At least I identify as one. I'm saying the Quran is my book, whereas you stooges, have yet to understand what the rule of the law means, what the rule of the law and the supreme law of the land, and the different rules and orders and hierarchy, and municipal versus provincial and federal laws, right? So you're arguing with just listen, go and educate yourself. If you claim to be Canadian, that is, right, or at least you are subject to Canadian laws and understand Canadian laws. Well, you must understand as well that essentially Canadian laws are nothing but what? But what? So it's an act of parliament. That's basically what it is, acts of parliament. And acts of parliament, last I checked, Canada patriated its parliament in 1982. So, the parliament is basically the civil code essentially that you have. That's why you have the RSC 1985, because Canada, basically patriated its, constitution from London, England, and changing the name from British North American Act 1867 to 1982, basically the Constitution Act, right? And essentially part one is the fundamental rights and freedom, and otherwise known as a charter. So, and that is, the supreme law of the land, essentially, the Constitution of Canada, 1982. You go and read part 1, part 2, blah, blah, blah. You get to part 7, section 52.1, and essentially it tells you that it is the supremacy clause. And what that means, essentially, that the Constitution is the supreme law of the land we call Canada here. And any laws that basically, what laws? Child laws, which basically have rules and regulation, bylaws, so to speak, municipalities, to provincial, to whatever federal laws, right, civil that is, if, essentially they would be null and void, because a child law cannot break a parent law. So that would be null and void because, you cannot infringe on the, natural well-being and welfare of a natural person. And that is in the natural rights and freedom. Good, Mark, yourself? So that's my other buddy here. He is, I believe he's a electrician or something. He's a good guy. There's the days in here. Basically, there's a lot of people that come here and work from the oil and gas. So, is that you, Ricky? So that's what happens basically, and then you have to understand that the Constitution essentially, does not. What is the Constitution? Go back to Magna Carta, 1215, and that's what basically lays down the foundation for a modern democracy. And the rule of the law, Canada under the Constitution of 1867, right, or the British North American Act. Last I checked, is a Christian, predominant, country. So God is the rule of the law, right? So, but you don't have to argue common law because you don't even understand your own common law in the book of the Quran, because that's your book. It tells you not to go through people belonging. It tells you not to go and basically just mind your own business. The truck is there doing nothing. It's no one's business. It's none of your business. I have already spoken with Brother Muhammad Idris, who happens to also to be the counselor at the city of Brooks. And I had said, I'm here for business. I had already spoken with him, and he had no issue. I know none of the community members had any issues. So anyways, and unfortunately, a lot of people just had forgotten. They're just as humans, as someone, look, you're Canadian, for example. At the age of 18, you get kicked out of the house, and you go and you start, you become a man, so to speak. You go out, you find a job, instead of being a bum, and you start life, and before you know it, you find this woman of your love, the love of your life, and you go about having kids, and before you know it, you have your own family in it. And over the years, Canada has gone from conservative values to kind of new progressive liberals, which are nothing but secular. Listen, just because you want to preach liberalism and listen, we don't need your bullshit, so to speak. Freedom, democratic freedom of expression and belief. It's privileges, liberties and speech. Listen, everybody has their natural right. It's innate to everybody. Just like you breathe and I breathe, everybody has their own mind, a mind of their own, hopefully. Unless you're a sheep and you go behind and you parrot information and you just sound like you know what you're talking about, but you fail to substantiate your claim with any evidence that with few questions I would know if you're actually the person behind the answer or you're just repeating information, because it requires fundamental and foundational understanding, intimate knowledge of the subject matter that you're trying to basically advance and discuss and negotiate. There's a lot of pseudo subject matter experts. All of a sudden we have people in the North America, political analysts. They can tell you exactly what the people in the Middle East wants to do. Ask the people, ask the indigenous Iraqis and Syrians and Palestinians and Lebanese and and the Hindis. You name it. You ask everybody. Like I drove from Ottawa. I came to Alberta, and I stopped by a few towns, and there's a lot of Indians, East Indies, that is. Nothing wrong with that. I love biryani. It's beautiful, man. The spice, the aroma. But understand, these people are here on work permit or business reasons. They're not here to become climatized and just stay here, and it's economically more feasible. They leave their homeland, their family. Understand, India is like what, 1.2 billion people or more. So the people in India, anything just to survive, and if you're living at $1 a day or so, you really have no future. I mean, Indian culture are known to be one of the very hard working people, and not only that, they have a caste system. In India, they have a very defined caste system, and if you're from a lower caste, you cannot marry into someone just because you happen to love her and she loves you. You cannot marry her into a higher caste, and that's just dogma and indoctrination, because at the end of the day, we are all equal. If you're a man of faith, we are all equal. There's no one that is above another person just because of their looks, of their their status, social construct that they subscribe to. So and that's essentially what the books and the faith, people of faith all subscribe to. At the end of the day, the notion that you're inherently a good human being. You try and help whenever possible. You don't go out of your way just to basically cause harm or report people just because you try to inflict hardship on them, because suddenly they do not subscribe to your notion of construct that this structure should not be here or should be here. So again, and this is where we are. It's not specific to my case. It's worldwide. It's systemic. It's every single indigenous person, a kind of struggle. And you are all here. Listen, I come to the hotel. I see people. $20 an hour, man. $20 an hour. I mean, you're leaving from another city out of town. You come here for $20 an hour. I mean, how can you survive when you have to pay rent for no less than one bedroom is like $1,200. Here in Calgary, 2 bedrooms runs for $1,800. If you're lucky. The closer you are to center town, and I come from Ottawa. Like I know the rent also in Ottawa is 2 bedroom. Forget it, man. You're pushing $1,900 downtown, $2,100. Forget it. Even Quebec now, like 2 bedrooms is like $1,900. easy. With parking, you're pushing, you're pushing like $2,000 plus hydro plus everything. So at $20 an hour, there's only so much time in the day and the week you can work up to 160 hours a month. $160 hours a month. You can barely make. If you work full time, 3,200. But 3,200 here. Sorry, the freaking camera is because I get this message again. Technology is shit. I always have to mind how much time I still have before I have to cut off the recording. So that's what happens basically. It's like you just can't survive, and then suddenly you have criminals on the road. Not because they're criminals. They're selling drugs, but the same pharmaceutical company and the same facility that they administer these unlawful drugs for you, but because they administer it, it's lawful. Suddenly you're incapacitated. They can inject you unlawful PRN injection. They can basically administer to you lithium and all sort of shit. But if you say no, you have no consent. Nobody is gonna put the gun to your head. And that's the idea. So the people on the road, they're selling drugs. They're not because they want to be criminals. Everything is a life, and life is buy and sell. I'm not advocating for you to be a drug lord or no. Each one has a choice in life to go about making money. You either make it the proper way or the shitty way, and each path has its own consequences. So at the end of the day, a man is not defined by his worth. A man is not his worth. A man is his word. So if you speak, you follow through your action, and that is a man. You shake hand, and that's trust. You build trust. You talk to people. But if you're the stooge that is a keyboard warrior, so to speak, and you just want to subject and vocalize your opinion and impose it on everybody, just calm down. If you don't like what I'm saying, well, I can give you my Zoom link. We can debate. We can discuss. Zoom link, man. One-on-one me. One-on-one. Bring your reference. Bring your support evidence. Anything you want, just bring it, man. I don't have to bring much. I just bring myself. That's all I bring, myself. And this. And the book of the Quran, if I have to reference some, scriptures, if you're going to bring your book of scripture, so to speak. And you can bring the Quran too. It doesn't matter. Bring whatever book you want. Reason with me. I will reason with you. But otherwise, don't just subject to bullshit propaganda. I don't care what belief you have. I don't care what color you are. I don't care where you're from. It doesn't matter. We're humans. So until you get that consciousness of understanding that you cannot treat a dog in a cruel way, that would be, criminal act. You would be charged and incarcerated. Before the dog had a chance to bite your hands off, the cops would be, called in. And listen, so understand, if you have any ounce of decency of being a human being, come and talk to me. If you disagree with anything I'm saying, and if your belief, if your belief system advocates and promotes the killing of innocent people, irrespective of the conflict, innocent man, innocent soul, that had nothing to do with the conflict, and just because of your, false pretense and false premise that, somehow your natural rights are far more superior than others because you're an Alawite, elite, right? And that's what the Alawites essentially stands for, elite, Alawite, Alawiyah. So they are like the masters, and you're the slave. They're the gods, and you're the slave, and you pay for your sins, and they collect the money, and the donation 80% goes to their pocket, and 20% goes to you, right? Like the scheme is the same scheme. The Ponzi scheme is the same. You don't have to dig deep to understand how the fuckery works in this world. Just look at your society, look at your own community, look at your own family, and look at yourself in the mirror. If you're a man who can look at yourself in the mirror and be happy and can answer to yourself, where did you amass your fortune? If you have a fortune, good for you. Money is not the evil. Money is not the evil. You need money. In any society, you need money. Look, it's not about having money or not. I still dress like this even if I have money. I dress with whatever I'm comfortable with. My skin is comfortable with. It's not to please you. It's to be comfortable. And it's function over fashion. There's no point for me to conform to some bullshit. Okay, I go to the wedding. I had to dress my wedding. Okay, it's the occasion. But here I am. I'm just talking. I'm not at work. This is just me. So, a lot of people are just so afraid to, show their face and speak, and everything is anonymous. Listen, you have to understand, if somebody is trying to help you, and should they conceal their identity? Why would you trust Bitcoin? How would you trust Doge? It's all digital at the end of it. They think of it this way. Without electricity, this whole shit falls apart. And this is why they want you to basically, they have not versus they have, right? Everything is by volume, right? The grade is, tier, so businesses, they get preferred grades. So right here, I'm at the day's end, for example. And they have about 78 units. Each unit, there's basically AC/heater element. It's about 4.8 kilowatt. So, assume, roughly, 12 hours a day, 10 hours a day. That's 48 kilowatt hour right, a day per room. Multiply by 78, you get roughly how much? So, but let's do it by the room. 48, right? Now, we said 40. So if you multiply by, say, 10 cents, that's how much they should be getting to secure the contract. Because, in business, you need to be able to, forecast and project. So, if you have a capacity of 78 rooms, you're not going to be full capacity all the year. So, we take average 2/3, so 67%. 78% times, basically your average 67%. That tells you basically how much this building would generate in terms of revenue. But now you need to work out your business model in terms of the maintenance. And, an average maintenance cost is roughly 20 to 25%. The lower the number, the better it is, because the lower the maintenance, the more profitable the business. So let's assume 20%, 20%, basically maintenance. And, when you are basically doing the math, like I said, so 48 kilowatt hour a day, right? For 10 hours at 4.8 kilowatt per hour. So 4.8 kilowatt times 10 hours for 8 kilowatt hour, multiply by, say, 10 to 12 cents. I'm just going to say 10 cents per kilowatt hour. So now you have about $4.8, roughly $5, right? And I could be off on and off by whatever percentage, but now that number $5 is basically the cost to keep that room and climate controlled, right? Now we divide that by 20% roughly, that basically gets you to the total roughly cost. So between really $30 to $33. Like when I did the math earlier, it was about $6, $6.20 or $7. So 20% or 21% roughly gets you to $33, and that is basically the cost, the bare cost, just to run this facility, because you have not just the room to heat, you have the water heater, also you have the staff, you also have food, you have other amenities, so you have to energize, and so basically you have about now $5 to $6 that I, as the customer, is the cost to me basically when I look at just keeping my space heated, so to speak, climate control. And I would carry basically 20% of the cost. So that basically would be 20% of the cost of the actual facility operation, the energy. So now what do we have? We have about $33 cost per room a day. So now when you basically advertise for $99 or $100, that's why it's a 3x to 4x normally. When you're pushing 4x, it's really luxury, but 3x, 3.5, you can get away with that. So and that's basically it. And the idea is this: you're not always at full capacity. So if you assume now again 78 times 66%. So if you go back to the 33, let's go back to $33 a day. $33 a day multiplied by 66% capacity, right? Because that's your cost. But if you multiply by the revenue, so $99 times the 67, because that's your average, you get to $66. And really, you're running at 2x profit margin, so to speak. Your margin, not profit, but essentially you have to be at 2x. You have to make 2 revenue, 2x. You have to generate 2x your cost, so 2 to 1. And and that's basically what the 1/3 allows you to have. So when you charge 3x, there's 1/3 that goes because of the average, so that goes away, and then you only left up with the 2/3 that potentially you can have. So the maximum this, if you have 78 units, so times say 66%, 2/3, say 80 divided by 3. I'm trying to do quick math here in my head. 80, 160, 30, 50, about 50 room or so. You can do the math, do a calculator. This is just a ballpark. I don't have to be exact. So around 50 units or so. All right, now 100, so $5,000 a day. That's your revenue potential. Now, again, that's average. So some days are going to be high, some days are going to be lower, but that's your average. And, that's basically, that's, if you have $5,000 a day, right, then you multiply by, say, 360 days, right, or 30 days, then you get the month, and then, that's basically how you evaluate businesses, and it's not like rocketry here, just, based on, the constraint that we as a business need to operate, and me, from my experience, based on different business models, that's, a healthy kind of an average to look for maintenance. It's, for example, you come and you buy some gadget, there's always 20%, maintenance and support, standard. Just like there's a commission, 20%, standard. Because, you're a sales rep, you're not being paid, so always 20%. So this is kind of where you have the choice in life, to either work and you charge, commission based on the value. Because if you provide a solution with a value that is, say, $1 million, why should you work, offer that advice for $10 an hour? No, you offer the advice, right, with percentage, free, but you get commission. Everybody can use it, but they pay you commission. That's royalty, basically, because they owe you 20%. But you did not come up with everything. You did not create anything. You just came and stumbled upon the discovery. So you get the 20% for sharing that and benefiting humanity. Not so you confiscate the knowledge and you suppress the knowledge and you hide that information from everybody. So you stooge can basically build and you amass your fortune on the piggybacks of the people who are gullible and essentially have do not know any better. So anyways, I'll leave it here, man. I can talk to the customer home. Let me just play some music. And this is kind of the thing where it's sad, where people now no longer entertain kind of intellectual conversation or just exchange dialogue. It's always it's my ways or your way, right? That's it. Either I have to be affiliated with some sort of a party before I can share my views, or I'm gonna just share my own views, man. Like, I'm speaking for myself. Like, why can't other people? If you share my interests, well, feel free, subscribe, share, follow, whatever you want. Direct call. Maybe I should just put my WhatsApp down so you can actually connect with me. But it's not about WhatsApp. There's a website. There's you can just talk to me, man. Link, comment, whatever. Anyways, time for music. it too loud or should I? That's good? No, yes? Okay, it's good. No, it's not too loud. Good. By the way, these were one of the best popcorns I've had. Especially when you put like the pickles and other. Holy moly, it was so good. So you know, when I first saw it, I didn't actually think it was like functional. I thought it was just a show. Guys, this is the popcorn machine. Look, when I was a little kid, this was the machine we all would, you know, run to. You know, popcorn. Anyways, people, enjoy. Life is good, man. Anyways, I'm gonna end it here. Yes. This is my guitarra. Yes.